are things going on that you would not believe.
The Institute is such a fantastic show. I feel like right now in Hollywood, we're in the renaissance of the Stephen King era because everything's being adapted again. I myself have been reading Stephen King's Revival. What was it about his work that you think connects and continues to connect with fans and resonate with fans and it's so timeless?
Well, the Stephen King, before the specifics of the Institute, he connects. He's one of our great story writers ever.
Our meaning humanities.
Yeah, humanities. Ours, not ours.
No.
Although we're human, but But I think that he writes in a world that's filled with fear, and God knows we know what that's like now. He writes what's hiding under your bed that you're scared of better than anybody. And he relates it to real human characters, which makes it completely relatable. In fact, Bennett said that, and we shared the fact that we always like better or love Stephen King the most, his work, when he's writing about monsters inside the people, not just monsters outside the people. And that was true of my experience on Mr. Mercedes too, his first detective genre. So I think that connects people to Stephen King in a massive way.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a masterful storyteller. I mean, I think, and across genres in a way that almost nobody can do. I mean, the idea that the same guy who wrote what becomes Stand By Me, also wrote the Salem's Lot or It or whatever, is pretty remarkable. But I think part of it is that he's such a wonderful sentence to sentence writer, but also he's so wonderful at delving into the inner lives of his characters, and he writes such incredible characters and relationships, and that just sort of pulls you along through 1,200 pages of The Stand or whatever, 1,200 pages of a lot of things that he's written. But yeah, I'm with you. He's a master. Which
is also a challenge for writers, and Ben and his brilliant staff, a writing team, did a brilliant job, because Stephen writes so many inner monologues for these characters and of course the cheap thing you throw out immediately is that
you can have
Luke, our lead character,
right,
narrates, how did I find myself, the worst. and you think of that one moment and you say, there, but for the grace of God, we're not doing that. And yet adapting it into a very cinematic and a dramatic piece, it takes a lot of brilliant writing to not lose all of that inner life that Stephen has on the page.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ben, I think you guys did such a fantastic job of really finding the tone of this show, but also making these characters really jump out and stick with you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the kids, they're aged up in the show. What was the thought process behind aging up the characters from the early teens to later teenage years?
Yeah, no, listen, there are a couple reasons. I mean, one of them that Jack and I had talked about from the beginning is that we never wanted the show to feel sadistic. Sure. And there's something about younger kids. I mean, look, we didn't want the show to feel sadistic toward anybody, but there's something about younger kids being sort of put in these situations, whereas teenagers, I think, are a little more able to navigate it without it just feeling like, oh my God, I never want to see this. I don't want to see kids, treated in this way or brutalized in this way. I mean, look, you don't want to see the teenagers brutalized in this way either. Making them teenagers, I think, brings it a little bit closer to like a World War II POW movie, which was definitely a touchstone for us in the writers' room, like The Great Escape or something, where, if they're teenagers, they are a little closer to Steve McQueen and Charles Bronson and whatever. And you can see these terrible things happening to them. And what your reaction is, at least in part, oh, it's going to be so great when they turn the tables, as opposed to just seeing kids mistreated. And the other reason that we aged them up was that we found Joe Freeman, and he is so undeniable as our central character, as our Luke, that it was like, okay, let's take it as a given that this is correct. So we need to sort of match everything to that, which is what we did.
Yeah, and also retaining the fact that Avery, who comes in, is 10.
Right. That was a big decision.
And that had to be a difference. And I think casting is kismet. And you, starting with Joe and Ben Barnes and Mary Louise Parker, oh my God, they're all so brilliant. And yet you ride the wave and see what presents itself, and it becoming. Our goal was not to make a sadistic show about little kids being tortured.
Sure.
And as Ben said, we didn't want to make it that anyway. But the point is that one thing led to the next, and we were very fortunate to find the actors we found, who are a terrific group. I think young people and older people are going to relate to, and oddly enough, want to hang out with if you've got to be in some horrific place like that.
Right. Jack always says about Lost, nobody wants to be in a plane crash and marooned on an island. But if you had to be, you'd want to be marooned on this island with these people. And I guess we tried to take a similar approach to the Institute, which is, nobody wants to be kidnapped in the middle of the night and taken to this terrible place. But if you had to be, you'd want to be in this place with this group.
Yeah. It's a high school show with 5 people. And strangest.
Right. The world's creepiest high school.
Yeah.
Emptiest.
Definitely. Yeah. Right.
I'll tell you what, when you guys introduced Avery, my fatherly instincts kicked in too. And I was like, wait, they better not mess with this kid. Now, for fans of the novel, the character Tim has a bit more to do in this, because he's really in the beginning and the end. Talk to me about Tim being more involved with the story this time around.
This came from, okay,
well,
go for it.
I mean, that was our big,
yeah.
I mean, in addition to just the challenge of adapting King, because for all sorts of reasons, that was our biggest challenge, I think, in adapting the story. And, it is a big departure, as you say. I mean, that character is there in the first 60, 70 pages of the book and then disappears for hundreds of pages until Luke gets to him. And, we needed to figure out a story for him. I mean, in the book, he's 1,000 miles away from the Institute and doesn't even have any notion that it exists until Luke comes to him, which is completely works on the page. But when you have, one of your lead actors and, you have several episodes before he can come together with the other lead actor who's going to bring him into this story, you have to figure out a way for him to be part of it without him stepping on the fact that was always important. I mean, hugely important to Jack, to me, to King himself, which is that the kids save themselves, that there's not an action hero riding to the rescue who sort of hears, oh, kids are being mistreated, and now he's going to go in and take them out of this situation.
But can I interject one thing about that? Played by Ben Barnes, and this is where Ben and his team were brilliant at their adaptations in the scripts I was lucky enough to direct. But the seeds of what Tim, played by Ben Barnes, is wounded about, he comes into it after suffering the loss as a cop. Not to go into too much detail there, but he's a guy who's wounded, who's taking a step off the merry-go-round of life and saying, I just need time. Fate has put me into this little town. Maybe I'll just hang out here. I'll be a night knocker. My grandfather was a night knocker. That makes sense, whatever. And it's actually his healing, aside from the use of having the Annie character, who's brilliant, have her antenna up, and the fact that the Institute is literally just across the river. And so it's kind of banging against the plot of this show and the thread of the show, so that the character of Tim can begin to disbelieve and then believe and get caught up in it, which only makes the tension build. And yet the brilliance of Stephen King and how they adapted him was that it really comes back to he saves himself in the same way that the kids save themselves, actually.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Listen, the show is fantastic. After I watched episode 8, I'm all ready for season 2. So,
So are we.
Let's go. The Institute is fantastic. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. You guys have been amazingly generous. You guys are incredible. Thank you.
Well, listen, thank you.
What a
you
pleasure.
too. And also bang the drum. We want to come. We want to see.
Yeah, we want season 2.
So spread the word.
I got to. I want it as bad as you guys. Thank you, guys.
We're gonna bring this whole place down.